Hello YouTubers, I'd like to share with you some tips and tricks about the Tamiya Avante. I've heard and I've read about the handling of the Avante being not as good as it should be. The main problem I've heard about and read about is about the fact that it is oversteered too much. Since this is a four-wheel drive buggy, it shouldn't oversteer at all. It should be handling like it's on rails. Now you could solve that with adding aftermarket parts or hop-up parts, but if you like to leave the Avante in its original state, this is a re-release by the way, then I've got some tips for you. What causes the oversteer? First of all, there is a slow reaction in steering. That is caused by the steering system, which is sloppy, but it works. And second of all, the servo saver is way too sloppy, but that can be modified. As you can see here, I have added two rubber rings over the servo saver. Now this plastic ring here is the actual servo saver, but that's way too soft. What I did is cut a piece from rubber tubing. This is actually a protection cap for large drills, and this is very tough rubber. If you can find one of those, then you're almost saved. Now what I did is I slide it over a piece of whatever it slides over. In this case it's a brush. It's the handle of a brush. Then take my knife and cut a piece from it. And that piece goes over the servo saver. It is a very cheap solution, but if you want to keep your original Tamiya servo saver, it really helps. And I've put two of them on this servo saver. So with that issue solved, I'll explain why it works. When you try to steer and the servo saver is too sloppy, the response is just way too slow, and when it finally steers, you're halfway through the curve. While you're forcing it to go through the curve and it finally steers, it throws out the back. When you respond to the oversteer, again, you're way too slow. That means the servo saver reacts way too slow. Now that the servo saver is stiffened up, the response becomes quicker, so you can respond better and the car responds better. You don't have to force it to go through the curves. Next issue, that's the shock absorbers. Now the kit comes with shock oil, and this is so easy to do. The kit comes with shock oil, but that shock oil could have been water for all I care, because it's way too soft. What I did is I've put 100 weight oil in the front, which is really thick, but it's still very good for these shocks. It wouldn't work in a normal shock, but if you look at this angle, the front shocks are practically laying down. If they would stand more upright, then the shock oil should be about, I think, 60 or 50. In the rear, I've put 60 weight, and I think I can go to 70, maybe 75 weight, and it still responds well, better than with the original shock oil. With the original shock oil it became very bouncy. That's a problem you can solve really easily. Another problem on the Avante is it bottoms out, because nowadays modern buggies they soften the impact with the chassis, but that's not the case with the Avante. So it can bottom out. The chassis doesn't hit the ground, and every bit of travel of the shock is used. Now with the heavier shock oil, it doesn't bottom out that easily. Now the front and rear diffs, they're not sealed, so there's no point in filling them with differential oil. However, this kit comes with anti-wear grease, and in the manual it says to put some in the differential itself. Now if you put some more anti-wear grease in the front differential would have some more resistance, which also really helps to give the car a better balance. So with better working shocks, differentials with some internal resistance, and a stiffer and more responsive servo saver, you'll have an Avante that is stable and has predictable handling. So thank you for watching, guys, and if you have any questions or comments, don't be shy and post them down below. Cheers!